Right now, somewhere on Earth, there is a secret countdown clock ticking away that could completely reset humanity. We're talking about a real-life event that could wipe out the internet, kill the electrical grid, and force us all to survive like medieval peasants. The craziest part? It has happened before, and scientists know exactly when the next one is overdue. I'm going to tell you exactly what this terrifying phenomenon is, but first, let's look at some other absolutely unhinged facts about our world. Fact number 1, did you know that sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins can? Dolphins need to come up for air every 10 minutes or so, but a sloth can slow its heart rate down to a literal crawl, allowing it to hold its breath underwater for up to 40 minutes. Imagine being a majestic creature built entirely for the ocean, only to get absolutely flexed on by a furry beanbag that takes 3 business days to climb a single tree. Fact number 2, let's talk about the world's most successful pirate. It wasn't Blackbeard, and it wasn't Captain Morgan. It was a Chinese woman named Qing Shi in the early 1800s. She started out working on a floating brothel, married a pirate king, and when he died, she took over his business. But she didn't just take it over. She expanded it into a massive empire called the Red Flag Fleet, controlling over 300 warships and managing up to 40,000 pirates. She ran her fleet with a brutal, ironclad code of conduct. If you stole from the treasury or disobeyed an order, you were instantly beheaded. If a pirate raped a female prisoner, he was put to death. She became so powerful that the Chinese Navy, the British Navy, and the Portuguese Navy all teamed up to stop her, and they still couldn't defeat her. Eventually, the Chinese government just gave up and offered her amnesty. She got to retire, keep all her looted treasure, and open a massive gambling house, living out the rest of her days in peace. The government literally looked at her army and said, "Look, we can't arrest you, so how about we just call it a draw and you keep the millions?" That is the ultimate boss girl move in human history. Fact number 3, in 2006, an Australian man tried to sell New Zealand on eBay. He started the auction at just $1, and surprisingly, the price actually managed to climb all the way up to $3,000 before eBay stepped in and shut the entire auction down for violating their policy of, not selling sovereign nations. Imagine checking your eBay notifications and seeing your bid for New Zealand was outbid. Honestly, for $3,000, that's an absolute steal for an entire country. Fact number 4, the average cloud you see floating casually in the sky actually weighs around 1.1 million pounds. That is roughly the equivalent of 100 elephants floating directly over your head at any given moment. They only stay up there because the air underneath them is dense enough to support the weight. Great, another thing to worry about. Just a casual 1,000,000 pounds of water vapor hovering over my house, waiting for gravity to remember it exists. But before we move on to the next one, I see the 88.4% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe. This gives me motivation to make more videos. Now let's get back to the video. Fact number 5, there is a tiny, uninhabited chunk of land between Egypt and Sudan called Bertal. It is roughly 800 square miles of pure, scorching desert, and it is the only place on Earth outside of Antarctica that is completely unclaimed by any country. Neither Egypt nor Sudan wants it. Why? Because of a weird legal loophole from the British colonial days. Back in 1899, the UK drew one straight borderline. Then in 1902, they drew a second curvy borderline based on which tribes lived where. This created 2 zones, Bertal and a much bigger, valuable piece of land next to it called the Hala IB Triangle, which has coastlines and resources. According to international law, a country can only claim one of the borders. Egypt claims the 1899 line, which gives them the valuable triangle and leaves Bertal to Sudan. Sudan claims the 1902 line, which gives them the valuable triangle and leaves Bertal to Egypt. Because both countries want the big, valuable piece of land, neither country can claim Bertal without giving up their right to the good stuff. As a result, random tourists occasionally fly out there, plant a homemade flag in the sand, and declare themselves king of the desert just for the internet clout, though no international government actually takes them seriously. Imagine a piece of land so unwanted that 2 different countries are actively pointing at each other like the Spider-Man meme, saying, "No, you take it." It's literally the geographical equivalent of the last slice of pizza that nobody wants to be rude enough to grab. Alright, it's time for the secret countdown clock I promised you at the beginning. I'm talking about a Carrington event, a massive solar superstorm. Every few hundred years, the sun releases a hyper-powerful blast of solar plasma directly at Earth. The last big one hit in 1859. Back then, it was so intense that telegraph wires literally exploded, shocking operators and setting offices on fire. If a storm of that exact same scale hit us today, it would completely fry our modern satellite networks, melt global transformers, and knock out power grids worldwide for months, if not years. Lloyd's of London estimated it would cause over $2 trillion in damage just to the US, and we'd essentially be plunged back into the Dark Ages overnight. Scientists estimate that we have about a 12% chance of getting hit by one of these solar superstorms every decade. So yeah, the sun is basically a giant cosmic EMP cosmic bomb, and we are just sitting here hoping it doesn't decide to press the reset button on our TikTok accounts.
Don't forget to smash the subscribe button for more facts content.